like, putting on a bra is basically black tie.
Mother, I'm effeminate, not a whore.
Hello, I'm Susie Ruffle and welcome to the Comedy Guide to Life. I know what you're thinking. The boots, the tie, the suit, the hair. This one's got lesbo written all over her. And you're right. But don't worry, I'm not going to give you the ins and outs of being a lesbian. Because to be fair, there's very little of that. But I have got a bunch of comedians that are very willing to share when it comes to the subject of sexuality. This comedian hosts a podcast called I've Had a Rosé, Let's Talk About Feelings. Well, I've had a G&T, let's watch some comedy. It's the brilliant Sam Lake.
Let's get something out of the way. Who here is familiar with the works of acclaimed musical artist Miley Cyrus? Love a bit of support for Miley. Great. It's just that a lot of people say that I'm a lot like her. It's just because of the fact that, you know, we both love wrecking balls. I'm gay. Just let that wave of shock filter out. I think one of the things that I'm most sad about happening during lockdown is that we didn't get to celebrate Pride, right? I love Pride. I think even though we can't do it physically, we should still celebrate Pride. Because let's face it, it's a lovely cause, and it's only when we support that cause together that one day, you know, we can hope to find a cure. And it's always such a relief when people laugh at that joke, because I have done it to audiences before where they've just given it a very serious round of applause. And I feel like I've misjudged these nuns, excuse me. The last time I was at Pride, I was actually there as a volunteer for a charity. He said very humbly, to like no reaction whatsoever, interesting, heartless bastards. And I was there, I was volunteering for this charity, and if you've been to Pride, you'll know at Pride, you can talk to anyone, have a lovely conversation. It's a treat. And I was talking to this woman who was Chinese, and I like to think she still is. And she and I, we were having a lovely back and forth. And she says to me, God, I just love what you guys do. Can you tell me a bit about the history of it all? And I said, of course. This charity started in 2007. And she stopped me and she went, charity? No, sorry, I meant gays. Can you tell me about the history of all gays? Like I was going to go, oh, well, yes, of course. The first willy was sucked in 1873. Here's a pamphlet.
Up next, we have a comedian who recently got over 1 million views of a TikTok video, What Your Email Signature Says About You. So please give your sincere, warmest regards and best wishes to Anya Magliano.
I'm bisexual, in case you can't tell from my curly fringe. That is our symbol. And I'm bisexual and single, which is so embarrassing. Because it's like, my choice is everyone. How bad must I be? I'm not that picky. I think it's great that I can talk openly about my sexuality without like fear that it's holding me back. I think it shows that society has really progressed. The main problem is that I now know what's holding me back is my personality and my skill set, which is incredibly annoying. I actually miss discrimination, is what I'm saying. I also, on social media, I see a lot of young people with like rainbows in their Instagram bios and their Twitter bios and their TikTok bios, you know, and it makes me really proud. I think it's so exciting that like a whole new generation can sort of be like so open about how much they love the NHS. So brave, isn't it? I am proud of my sexuality, but I'm not like proud. Do you know what I mean? Like I would love to rule men out. No offence, I know there are some in tonight. I love your work. The light bulb, The Godfather, the patriarchy. You can't deny you've got range. It's impressive. It's just that some of the men in my life have been like not great to me, so I'd like to get them out of the equation. But then sometimes I meet a man and he's just like so tall. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes for me. I don't feel particularly loved in my sexuality as a bisexual woman. I think society kind of sexualizes us and sees us as sexual objects, and I don't really like that because that just seems like a lot of effort to me. Because like for me, like putting on a bra is basically black tie. so I really can't be asked. I do wish bisexual women were kind of seen as like fun. I feel like gay white men are seen as very fun, and like I could be fun. Do you know what I mean? Like I could be on Queer Eye, maybe. I just think it's like if you brought me like a young bisexual woman, I could show her exactly what Lorde songs to cry to. I could teach her how to kill any breed of houseplant. And then when it's getting like really emotional and she's really comfortable in who she is, I'd be the one to cut her fringe. And yes, that is how women have sex. That's why they call it scissoring.
Now we have the super stylish and very funny Joe Sutherland.
I do have a lot of respect for this younger generation. They're making us think about other things in new ways, like, for instance, gender. Gender is a huge topic. Some people find it very confusing. If you find it confusing, let me explain. Now, some people get very angry about gender. Some people like to argue that there are only two genders, Pfizer and AstraZeneca. Whereas actually, you know, the young people are helping us realise that we can talk about it in more ways. Like, I have a friend who recently came out as non-binary. Now, if you don't know what that means you feel you're not a man, you're not a woman, you're in the middle, bang in the middle, you're Keir Starmer. And so what it means is that we can start to think of gender as more of a spectrum. You know, there are two ends, but then all these other like amazing things in the middle. And, you know, we already think about sexuality like this. We do. Like, I don't believe anyone is 100% gay or 100% straight. If anything, I'm curious. I would love to go out with a woman, but men earn more money. I just really like having things, so... what a choice. And it is a choice. But I suppose I would describe myself as a bit more like gender fluid in a way. You know, I feel like I sort of move along the spectrum slightly, which I think is a really cool idea, but we have to do something about the name. I'm sorry, we do. Gender fluid. What did you get up to last night? Oh, I don't remember, but I woke up covered in gender fluid. We need a rebrand, honestly.
I won't bore you guys with my coming out story, because a lot of people just see this coming. What I will say is when I was very little, we're talking 5 years old, I remember saying to my mum, what I want for Christmas, my ultimate present, is a handbag. That's all I wanted. I just wanted a handbag. And some of you are probably going, little boy playing with a handbag. That's quite gay. We celebrate it, but it is quite gay. That's probably the gayest thing I've ever heard of a child do. I'll one-up it, though. The following Christmas, I asked my mum for another handbag, because apparently the first one she got me was too trashy. With my two handbags, I took one look at it. It was like, white leather. Mother, I'm effeminate, not a whore, so let's get some taste, please.